Hey there, this is Anthony Metivier from magneticmemorymethod.com, and this graphic is the Q&A graphic, which is what we're going to get to in this video about how to record and store your memory palaces, because I got a really fascinating question. But before I tell you how to record and store your memory palaces, let me just ask, did you see the last video I did, The Moon Represents My Heart, singing from a memory palace, a Chinese song? It's got a little bit of a difficulty in it. That's why it's 99% instead of 100%. But I thought it was really fun, so I encourage you to go and look for that. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, click subscribe, and some recent changes at YouTube now require that you hit this little bell if you want to be notified when new videos come out from people like myself. So subscribe and hit the bell, and then you'll get to see demonstrations of the memory techniques in addition to little trainings like these and Q&As and so forth. So to get to this question, the question is, what is the best way to record memory palaces? For some reason, I'm afraid that if I go to some places with a lot of memory palaces like Amsterdam, I just won't remember all of the places and details, so I can make memory palaces or stations for them. Well, this is a very legitimate concern, and it's a great question. But before I get into answering the question, I want to jump on a few things that just completely burn themselves into my eyes every time that I see them, because they're really critical. They're sort of meta level thinking and mindset thinking, but they're really important. The first is the best way. Well, memory techniques are not about the best way. They're about the way you're going to use the techniques. And that means exploring, making experiments, and so forth. So there's nothing wrong with saying what is the best way, but we just need to be careful about it because it sometimes leads us down the wrong road. So caution about that. And then the other thing is fear, because there's the notion of being afraid that some place will not work for you or whatever, but you don't know unless you're always experimenting. So it's really, really important. And so fear plus the idea of the best way can lead to, and often does lead to, inaction. So whenever you think, what's the best way to do this? Then just start doing something. And of course, being subscribed to my channel, following what I do as I'm doing it, sharing little videos and experiments like this. And yes, admittedly, I do a lot of meta level stuff like the 5 keys of memory improvement, where it's a lot about mindset. But I think that that's really, really important, because the technical details are all in the Magnetic Memory Method Masterclass, but so much of what we need is just to get people started. And you don't always need to have the whole picture, you know. If you want to know how to make a memory palace, there is a free training about it, and it's on magneticmemorymethod.com. You just go to magneticmemorymethod.com/kit, K-I-T, and it gives you all the training. And then one of the key things is to memorize, or rather to draw your memory palaces. And that is one way of memorizing the memory palaces. If you want to get your own memory palaces into memory, one of the best ways is to see them in front of your very eyes. And it doesn't have to be super complex or anything like that. It can just be a simple stick drawing. And so people send me their memory palaces all the time. Email is easy to find on magneticmemorymethod.com/contact, and you can send a memory palace. And if your questions are really good and I see that you're working, then I'm happy to interact to a certain extent wherever possible outside of the masterclass. But preference obviously goes to people who are not just in the masterclass but the mastermind. But the first tip here is to just draw your memory palaces. There is no better way to get them into memory and start using them than to draw them. And one thing that I encourage people to do in the masterclass is to create a memory journal. And not just create a memory journal, but personalize it so that it is your very own memory journal. And a tool that I've been talking a lot about recently is called the Freedom Journal. And it is a great way of working with your memory goals and having a place to draw memory palaces and actually doing some of the memory work. So some more information about that coming up soon. And also the Creativity Kickstarter, which you see here, is available on Amazon, and it is something that also, there's a special link inside there that will teach you how to use a coloring book as a memory palace, and you can collect memory palaces in an interesting way in your head better if you use that technique. But this is not in and of itself a way of storing memory palaces in the way that a memory journal is, or something like the Freedom Journal. The links will be in the description below if you want to follow up on any of these things. Now, the other thing is just loose paper. But if you're going to have loose paper, then you want to make sure that you have a binder. The cool thing about the binder is that you can get these really big pieces of paper and then fold your memory palaces in half, and then you can have big pieces of paper that are still collected inside of a binder. So a shout out to Phil Chambers for that idea, because that's what he told me. That's the way he stores his mind maps, and I thought that was really brilliant, because you do want to have these nice big pieces of paper, but then where do you store them all? Well, his solution is you have binders and you fold the paper in half, so that you just open up your binder and then unfold the paper. So I'm in the middle of a move right now, but I'm going to start doing a lot with mind mapping, and that's exactly the way I'm going to collect my mind maps together, is with a binder and big pieces of paper. Now, another strategy for you is to get a big piece of canvas or some big piece of construction paper, draw your memory palace on it. A lot of the particulars here have to do with certain principles in the magnetic memory method, and then put photographs on it. Now, this is going to take a lot of space to store it, but it is an option, and it's a great way of collecting your memory palaces together, remembering your memory palaces better, and never having to worry about forgetting about them. And you can just create memory palaces in your mind, but not worry about whether you're going to forget them or not, because the fear will cause you to forget it. But there's so many times that I go and use memory palaces on the fly without going through an elaborate process of drawing it, making sure I have a memory palace journal with me all the time, or the Freedom Journal, which I take with me even when I travel, or if I do the binder thing, which I'm planning to with the mind map stuff that I'm going to do, and this obviously would be a lot to carry around the world. But the whole point is that if you just have a small little notebook, then you can draw all the memory palaces that you want. And I do this often. It's just that they're collected and gathered, and you never then need to worry that you're going to forget to use that memory palace. But even just deciding to create the memory palace will be better than not doing it at all and being held back by fear. So fear plus the best way myth is inaction, because the best way is actually just doing something. And so that will combat fear, and then that will lead to success. And I think you're going to find that really, really useful. And I hope that you will also check out the 5 Keys of Memory Improvement, because it's more mindset stuff like this. And I think you're going to really enjoy that. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. And if you want to get more, magneticmemorymethod.com/kit will give you some worksheets. It'll give you 4 free videos, and this will really help you master the memory palace. It's the most exciting technique in the world. So make sure you go to magneticmemorymethod.com/kit. And that's April, by the way, and we both thank you so much for watching and can't wait to see you in the next video. So make sure that you click that little bell, ring-a-ling-ling-ling, and then you'll get an email, and you can join me here on YouTube for another exciting video from the Magnetic Memory Method family. So that's it for today, and until we speak again, keep yourself magnetic.